Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, folks. We're going to be doing a live stream today, and in this live stream, we are going to be discussing the Star Wars Expanded Universe, the universe that Disney had decided to discard for a universe that made absolutely no sense whatsoever. So, yeah, I'm gonna start on the early EU, not the or like before the Battle of Yavin. And I'm going to go over some of my favorite things from it. Most of the stuff is from the game, The Old Republic, and even Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. I mean, one of the cool things about the Old Republic era, during the time of Revan and even before, I believe that there were far more powerful Force users back then. I mean, you had Zul'jin, you had Mark Aragnos, Naga Sadow, you had Jedis that were very powerful, like Dawn and whatnot. But I'm also a very big Sith lover as well. And one of my absolute favorite characters in the entire EU is the original Sith Emperor Vitiate, who was, I believe, found by Mark Aragnos and was the successor to Mark Aragnos. Even he ruled kind of behind the scenes. And everybody always says, well, Sidious was more powerful and this and that. Not if you really think about it. I mean, what was the goal? Sidious's ultimate goal was to become immortal, was to have eternal life so he could rule the galaxy literally forever. But he never attained that goal. He could only attain it essence transfer and other underhanded methods, if you really want my opinion. But yeah, Sidious always wanted immortality, but he never really got it. He only ever got it by transferring to diseased or deformed bodies that weren't working. And when he tried to possess Anakin Solo, he was killed because he couldn't possess Anakin Solo's body as a baby. So strong was Anakin Solo. But everybody says, well, Palpatine can create wormholes in the EU and whatnot. So what? That doesn't mean he's the strongest. Vitiate attained immortality. He knew how to, or he lived for a couple thousand years, I believe, before he was struck down by the Outlander in the Star Wars Old Republic game. But yeah, speaking of which, everybody knows that and I sorry about the pause, folks. I forgot to put the banner up. If there is a silent spell, please be patient. I do have internet issues every now and then. But as I was saying, we do have or vergences in the Force. We were discussing that, and Anakin. Hold on. Anakin Skywalker was a virgin, but characters like Nadia Grell, I believe she was even a virgin in the Force, to be honest, because she had a raw power in the Force. She was she literally walked at a guy and caused that guy to fall to the ground because of the Force aura that she had. You also had people like Jason Wilson, light side or dark in the game. She was still a virgin. She was still powerful. She had a potential that was not fully realized and whatnot. I mean, she could literally sense the true nature of somebody in the Force. She had a gift that she could indeed identify that. Yes, or now, does that make her a virgin? Possibly. I mean, there are very powerful characters in the EU. How you doing, Junebug? Rogue One should have been Dark Forces. Imagine Die Hard in the Death Star, a mercenary fighting stormtroopers, one-man army style. Heck, they could have gotten Donnie Yen as Cal Katarn. Well, I mean, that's possible, or that could have possibly, been something that they could have done. Now, yeah, I guess I could see that, but Donnie Yen as Cal Katarn, no. I mean, Cal Katarn basically kind of looked like a young Obi-Wan, so I'm guessing, or I would have somebody else play Cal Katarn, to be honest. We also have but yeah. How are you all doing? I see 4 people are in the chat. If you guys want to talk EU, come on in. I put the StreamYard link in the chat, so if you want to come in and talk, feel free. But yeah, there was also characters like Darth Nox, who is the Sith sorcerer in the story mode for the Sith Empire. He had a technique that his own ancestor was able to do. Thank you, Star Wars Lounge. It's always good to see you in here, man. And thank you very much for the well wishes. But yeah, he had a pull with ghosts, with spirits and Sith spirits. He could actually pull and manipulate their powers by pulling them in to himself and taking them unto himself and whatnot, giving him power, but it also cost him because he didn't know how to control it. And then it started to kill him. So then he had to find a cure on Vost and all that to keep the spirits from actually killing him. You have people like the Jedi Guardian in Old Republic. He was a powerful person too. He was the one that actually finally, if you pay attention to Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Emperor was the one who turned Revan and Malak. And Revan went to confront the Sith Emperor. So basically, Knights of the Old Republic 3, a game that everybody's asking for but doesn't realize that they have, actually exists. It just doesn't exist as Knights of the continuation of the story is from the Jedi Guard perspective. You have Lord Scourge, who joins you as a companion. You actually have the Jedi Guardian facing the Emperor, the Immortal Emperor, and then even later on, he kills the Emperor again, playing through the story of the Eternal Throne and whatnot. But yeah, I have a feeling that all the characters back in the Old Republic days were very powerful. Now, Revan, I could actually believe, was a virgin in the Force. He came very close to mastering both light and dark side. Now, I won't say that he exactly mastered them both. Who do you think could play Emperor Valkorion? Yeah, you did. Be misspelling the first Emperor in the expanded universe. Yeah, it's Valkorion, but it's okay, man. honestly, I on it a good Emperor Valkorion. I honestly don't know the well of actors very well, but I would definitely choose someone sort of like either Mark Strong or even Terrence Stamp, somebody that has a great weight to them. I mean, Mark Strong might not be as old or like an older gentleman, but I'm pretty sure he could pull off Valkorion. I mean, he has a good voice for it too. Now, Vei Lin, holy shit. Her I don't want somebody to match her voice because her voice was kind of annoying as hell when it came to the game. I mean, yeah, I kind of have a hard time imagining anybody else to voice her, but honestly, if there was a person that could voice or that could play Vei Lin and her psychotic nature, I would definitely think somebody like Margot Robbie. I mean, Margot Robbie does Insane pretty well with Harley Quinn, but as for Thexan and Arkin, hold on one, folks. I actually have to check something really quick. I will be right back. How many times? She has told you. Anywho, let's get back in here. Arkin and Thexan, who could play? You could either have you don't really need a cut or do a double in the movie and whatnot. But for Arkin, that would be an interesting, or it would be a good casting choice. You need somebody who's skilled. I mean, but also not too ripped, but has a good body that's kind of balanced, you know? I mean, people have asked me all the time, who would you cast to have different people? Franco Naro from, or I think could play, and he was Django in the spaghetti westerns. He was even the old man who told Jamie Foxx how to spell Django in Django Unchained. I honestly never saw that movie. That was one movie I didn't see, but I wish I had. But yeah, which character do you think he would play? Junebug, please clarify. But as for Arkin and Thexan, let's see here. You need somebody who can be kind and gentle. I mean, because Thexan did eventually redeem himself if you played the light side version of it. But let's see here. You also need somebody who can also kind of channel a darkness too. I mean, somebody in their 30s or 40s even, possibly 30s, I'd say. I mean, Arkin, I always see Arkin around my age, really, 30, or I'm almost 35. So it's a hard choice. But yeah, those characters in the EU and in Old Republic game, those are some of my favorite characters. Now, Revan, everybody says, "Oh, Revan's a bitch. He's not that powerful," and this and that. It's like, dude, I don't care what anybody's very powerful in the Force. Well, most Sorry again, folks. Like I said, internet problems, you know? But yeah, Franco Nero as the first emperor. Oh, okay, Emperor Vitiate. Well, yeah. I mean, not exactly. I don't see the emperor as an Italian, but I could see that possibly. I mean, I'd actually have to get a picture of him to see who the guy is. In fact, I'll actually do that right now. But yeah, everybody says that Revan's not powerful and whatnot, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Because if I remember correctly, Revan did incapacitate 12 people when the main character was trying to fight him, and there's just Revan had a lot of untapped potential, in my opinion. But moving on to other characters that I liked Bane. I liked when he became a Sith Lord. There was his apprentice Darth Zana, and then Darth Cognos, who was actually Bane's second apprentice because he thought Darth Zana was no longer worthy. But then when she killed Bane, she took Cognos as the apprentice. Franco Nero. Let's see here. Let me search him up. You know what? I could possibly see him as Junebug. I could actually see him as as Vitiate. I mean, color down his hair, make his hair like more gray, and expand his beard out more and whatnot. Damn, yeah, I could actually see that. So yeah, good call on that. Definitely. Wait, he's actually married to Vanessa Redgrave. Damn, that's pretty cool too. But yeah, I absolutely love the characters in the EU. And my other favorite characters, obviously, Luke Skywalker. I mean, he was very, very powerful. And other characters like Scout, Esther Hazy. She was a Jedi that was weak in the Force. Now we're back into Clone War era. She was from the book, the novel Dark Rendezvous, and you hear about her later in Order 66, or was it Imperial Commando? Or yeah, I think it was either 66, Order 66, or Imperial Commando. But she was also in Dark Rendezvous, where she accompanied Yoda to Vajun to kind of either rescue Dooku or put him down for good, and that's one of my favorite books, actually. But yeah, definitely her, the character Whee, Whee, or IE, so it's either Y or Wee. I never understood how to pronounce that name because it was just so odd. But Yoda will always be one of my favorite characters, especially EU Yoda, because EU Yoda turned to the dark side just to prove a point. Anybody who could turn to the dark side and just then turn right back just to prove a point deserves to be admired. Anyway, we got two people in the chat. Say hi. Make that three people in the chat. Welcome, welcome. We're discussing. I always thought that Kurt Russell would have made a good Dash Rendar. Kurt Russell probably could have. And fun fact about Kurt Russell, he was actually on board to play Han Solo. He actually auditioned with a couple other actors before they handed it over to Harrison Ford. Sorry, I had a brain fart, folks. But yeah. Dash Rendar is also another favorite of mine. I mean, Shadows of the Empire was a great book. Also, I liked the N64 game. The N64 game was a great game. I also had the Master Cheat for it. But I am so many times, it's like, let's see what the Master Cheat can do. I mean, it gets you able to do all sorts of cool stuff. You can actually fly to certain areas that you never thought you could. You can get all sorts of cool things. Oh my gosh, man. It was a great game. The EU was so widespread. Why Disney ever thought that they should get rid of it or cast it as Legends is beyond me. How are we doing, Kamen Rider? One question. Were you a fan of Channel Awesome? I've heard of Channel Awesome. I can't say that I've visited Channel Awesome. So I will have to look into that sometime. But this week is kind of busy. I mean, depending on my schedule tomorrow, I'm either going to be doing an ice walk or I'm going to be doing another live stream later tonight or tomorrow night, depending on what we do. Plus Friday, I might be showing you guys or doing a video showing you guys an ice castle. So definitely stay tuned for all that. But yeah, I'll have to look into Channel Awesome. But yeah, this week I actually had 2 videos planned, but I had to accompany my mother on a trip today to help her with a couple things. And I'm glad I did because family's important, you know? But returning to the topic at hand, the EU, which was very disrespected by Disney. And if you guys want to come on in, the link is in the chat. Just scroll up a little bit, or I could just put it back in right now. I mean, let me check some of the stuff that we got going on. But yeah, for the most part, EU, the best of the best. You had characters like Jacen Solo, not that poser known as Kylo Ren, but actually Jacen Solo. You had his brother Anakin Solo, who is debatably the most powerful Force user in the entire EU out of the Skywalkers. You had Jaina Solo, who is also very powerful. I mean, she was cast on Black Force Lightning, which I believe was in the EU the most powerful type of Force Lightning. After Anakin Solo died, oh wow. It's kind of related to Star Wars since George Lucas based Star Wars on it. I would definitely want to see a proper adaptation of John Carter. I heard of John Carter. I've never saw the movie. But, yeah, I'll definitely have to look at that too. But, yeah. Where were we? God damn it, I got sidetracked. Oh yeah, we were talking about Jaina Solo and them. When Anakin Solo died, she went dark. I mean, she was willing to taunt the Yuuzhan Vong, who were also very powerful in themselves, even though only one of them was Force sensitive. But the rest of the species was actually void of the Force, kind of almost immune to the Force, so to speak. You couldn't sense them. And they were obsessed with death, and they hated technology. Huh. Sounds like a couple, or some groups that I know. But anyway, moving on. Or what do you got? What's some of your guys' favorite characters in the EU? Let me know in the comment section. Always good to to get some of the comment section involved. Let me know. And while we're talking about it, I also liked Lumia and several other characters from the up-to-date character. I actually want to read Fate of the Jedi because I want to read that series because I so want to tap into what Abeloth was all about. I mean, I know I've heard of Abeloth. I've seen videos on her backstory and this and that and how powerful she was, but I actually want to read the books themselves to kind of get an idea of it. One of the only things that sucked about the EU is how Chewbacca, yes, Chewbacca dying actually broke my heart, but also the dude went out in the most defiant and epic ways. I mean, it took a moon getting dropped on Chewbacca to kill him. I mean, yes, it's sad he died, or because Anakin had to pull the Falcon out at the last, or at the very exact last second in order to ensure their survival, but Han never forgave his son because of that. And it took his son's death for him to actually forgive him. And when I read the book where Anakin Solo died, this is how you can tell that Anakin Solo was exceptionally powerful, even at a young age. He had an amphistaff writhing in his guts, literally. And he was using the Force to hold himself together, fighting off Yuzong Vong and the Voxen and whatnot in order for his friends to survive and get out of the Voxen planet, seed planet that the Vong created. And let me tell you something. He literally held himself together as long as he could, and as long as he could turned out to be a pretty long while until he finally gave in to becoming one with the Force. But man, when Leia felt his death, she was actually holding baby Ben, and she started screaming because she felt her son pass, and she started accidentally holding Ben too tight. And when Han heard her say that Anakin is gone, he just started blasting everything until the Noghri had to tackle him to the ground in order to stop him from becoming a threat. Oh, Kyle Katarn, Darth Plagueis, Dash Rendar, and especially Grand Admiral Thrawn. I like Grand Admiral Thrawn from the EU. EU Thrawn, way better than this cucked version they did before. I mean, this cucked version that they did, it was god awful. He was getting outmaneuvered by freaking rebels, just rabble rousers in the Rebel Alliance. He would have slaughtered the rebellion if he was brought into it or brought against it in his. I'm telling you right now, if the Emperor had called on Grand Admiral Thrawn to assist in the fighting against the rebellion that's starting against Empire, Thrawn would have beaten him. He would have stopped the entire rebellion. But yeah, it's the one that we got in Disney canon was very god awful. Do the frickin' look right, man. Chiss did not have pupils. Their eyes were literally just red orbs. But yeah, Plagueis is actually my second favorite Sith Lord. When it comes to two characters, my second favorite is Darth Plagueis, because he was actually unlocking the key to immortality without using the methods of Vitiate or Valkorion, and he was actually making himself stronger in the Force by doing so. The book Darth Plagueis, like I actually have, and I have that book with me in my room here. You find out that this guy was increasing his midichlorian count and reviving himself, making himself younger, healing his disfigured face from that attack, that assassination attempt on him. And I mean, this guy, Plagueis, achieved what many other Sith before him coveted. He was on he was on the way to immortality. minutes right now. I'm going to go for about 55 more minutes because I want to be able to catch Odin's Tuesday stream. I always catch Odin. So we're going to go for almost an hour, folks. And then tomorrow night, stay tuned because, like I said, depending on what goes on, I will definitely possibly do another live stream discussing EU, hopefully with folks that want to come in and join the panel. I've sent out the link on Twitter for some of the bigger channels. I mean, I want to actually get Ojin in here, Ryan Kennel sometime. I want to get Mary Jade and Lethal Lightning on here sometime so we could all talk EU and just go to town on our parts. I mean, that is my goal. And hopefully, and even Star Wars Lounge, if he ever gets the chance to. I will always like it and love it way more than what we got from Disney. Now, Disney's, I will say this. I will admit this right now. Do I like what Disney has done to Star Wars? No. But on an honest level, is some of the stuff that they have done entertaining? Yes. I will not deny that I can find myself entertained by some of the stuff that Disney has done. Now, is episode 7, 8, and 9, are they good? No, not in my opinion. Does that mean I'm going to say that other people who like it are terrible people? No, I will not say that. If you guys like the Disney trilogy, I won't call it the sequel trilogy. If you guys like it, awesome. I wholly respect people who with a difference of opinion. What are you going to talk about in tomorrow's stream? Well, tomorrow I'm possibly going to discuss more EU stuff that I liked. I'm sticking with Force users right now. Possibly tomorrow I'm going to be discussing some Mandalorian characters that I really like. I mean, I really do like a lot of the EU, and some of the I'm discussing Force sensitives today, and tomorrow I'm going to be discussing characters that weren't Force sensitive or very weak Force sensitives. And we will touch on a couple of Force sensitives that are actual or that were Mandalorians in tomorrow's. But yeah, I am a very big proponent of the EU, and very big fan of the EU, not proponent, because that would mean I was involved in it. I mean, I actually did take, during the making of Legacy of the Jedi, when they were writing the books, I actually did take part in voting for what the name of the Sith Lord, or what Jason would be called eventually. Unfortunately, my choice didn't win. I can't remember what it was. Actually, I submitted my own Sith name, Darth Volin, for use, but it never got used. I mean, I wish that the Sith name would be in there. I applied to be the head of Walt Disney Company since Bob Iger is retiring. Dude, hey, if you actually make it to the CEO of Disney, promise me that you will turn it around. Please tell me you will do your best to turn it around, man. Because if you ever do get that far, hell yeah, I would support you 100%. And I think that a lot of people would be happier. Believe me, I have a feeling a lot of people would be happier. But yeah, nobody's biting so far. A lot of likes on it, but not a lot of people are biting. Wait, I think I had 2 new followers. Oh, yeah, good. But yeah, let's see. Who are other favorites? Mara Jade is obviously a favorite of mine. I mean, when she was fighting Lumia in front of the Sith sphere, in that Sith sphere known as Ship, or literally just smacks him aside, saying, "You two better stop it. You're Sith, goddammit." It was just so awesome. I mean, oh gosh, man, there is just so much lore in that entire universe of the expanded universe that I could geek out on for hours and hours. But one of my favorite old Republic characters is also Senya, which is the mother of Valkorian's kids, Arkin, Thexan, and Valen. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. You want to see a strong woman in Star Wars and a total badass while doing it? This woman force grabbed a guy by his junk and tortured him. She grabbed him by she force grabbed him by his nuts and lifted him up in the game. And it's like, yikes. I mean, when she dropped him, it's like, ah! The way that, oh gosh, that was great. So yeah, Senya, she was one of my favorite Force sensitives. And also, depending on if I get other people in the chat or in the stream tomorrow, we'll possibly even discuss Force sensitives too, by the way. Tonight is just basically me expressing my love for Star Wars and the EU. But tomorrow I'm possibly going to have others. Superhero movies and Star Wars movies will be gone at least for the time being, and Fox will be changed to 20th Century Fox, but we will have a 5-year plan with them to help them out. Nice! I mean, don't get rid of superhero movies. I mean, those are those are big. Your company is unlikely to thrive if you do that, but just don't make them, as everybody else calls, woke. Stop focusing on the whole woke business and just pander to everyone instead of just the minorities of the minorities. You know what I'm saying? That's how I would run a company, by appealing to everyone, not just the minorities. But anyway, returning back to the topic at hand, one of my other favorite characters is actually Anakin Skywalker, because in the EU, in Star Wars Episode 2 novel, when he's fighting Dooku in Attack of the Clones, he literally puts up a force barrier that Dooku couldn't get past when Dooku was backing or on the defensive, and he just smacks against it, and he's like, "What the hell?" But it showed that Dooku was actually surprised by the boy's raw power. If the beneficial for Disney to hire a younger guy, but somebody who's also somewhat of a film historian who has a background in business. Oh, there will be no woke because I am a libertarian. Nice work because are you a Marvel fan or DC fan? I'm actually both. I will always love the Hulk, and I do not like how the MCU do some sort of gimmick. But I've always been both DC and Marvel. I am liking DC a little bit more right now because I don't like where Marvel has taken their content. But yeah, I'm both. I like both kind of equally. But returning to Star Wars, one of my favorite Force sensitive characters is actually not just a humanoid character, but it's actually a planet. And for those who know, the planet is Zanama Sekot, or Sekot, or Sekot, or however you choose to pronounce it. But yeah, that planet was very interesting. It actually was sentient, and it had a built-in freaking hyperdrive. Oh, let's just say that during the Rogue Planet incident, that Obi-Wan and Anakin actually visited that planet, and then it disappeared into the unknown regions. It was pretty interesting. And when Luke landed on the planet and saw the planet manifest as Anakin Skywalker, it's like, oh my gosh. It was very cool. Anyway, we are now 41 minutes in, and I'm having a hard time trying to keep track of other stuff that I liked in the EU. I mean, one of the things that I liked about the Yuzong Vong series was Centerpoint Station, and the way that Anakin Solo and Jacen described it was, it's basically a lightsaber. It is basically a giant lightsaber, and even though it was a technological construct, the Yuzong Vong actually had respect for the people who used it because they wiped out half their fleet with it, but also wiped out half of their own fleet by using it as well. And that was Threk and Sal Solo being a dickwad during that battle, because he's like, we're gonna use it now and whatnot, and he force fires the weapon, and well, we all know what happened. The Hapes Consortium also lost a fair bit of their ships too, when the Hapes Consortium was actually helping fight against the Vong. Now I'm gonna sit back and relax a little. I mean, if you guys saw me, you'd know, or you would understand what I'm talking about. But yeah. The Hapes Consortium was also an interesting part of the EU. Courtship of Princess Leia is another favorite book of mine, where Leia was originally courted to marry the Prince of Hapes. I can't remember his name exactly, but he was basically a strapping lad that was very powerful and semi-force sensitive, I believe. And when they are in Dathomir comes into play, it was all very cool. I mean, I like the Night Sisters in the EU more than I like this now version of Night Sisters. I mean, Jeth Zirion, the main witch of Dathomir, who was a very powerful dark side user, she just flicked her finger and nearly killed Luke Skywalker. If I made episode 10 in 2033, Grand Admiral Thrawn will be the main villain. Well, it wouldn't exactly be the Grand Admiral Thrawn then, because if episode 10, it's continuing after the crap that was episode 7, 8, and 9. But yeah. Are you aware of Image Comics? I've heard of them. I am not aware of their content, though. I'm trying to stick to Star Wars right now, though. As the topic of today's live stream. But yeah. Does anybody else have any favorites that they want to talk about or ask about in Star Wars? I'll actually leave it to you guys to ask about it. I always thought it'd be cool to see a Wookiee Sith Lord. There's been some fan art that showed some dark Force users that are Wookiees. I mean, I've seen a freaking Sith Ewok, for crying out loud, and that was pretty dope. But yeah. I mean, Kazdan Paratus from Force Unleashed. Force Unleashed was also a great game and book series. I mean, 1 and 2. I mean, there was just so much potential of the EU. What do you like to see? But yeah. I mean, there was also, I thought it would be cool to see a Wookiee. Yeah, Wookiee Sith Lord. I mean, that would be cool to see, dude. Definitely, no doubt. I'm also paying attention to Twitter while I'm talking to you guys. But yeah, let's see here. What are some other? Tenel Ka was one of my favorites, or one of my favorites. I mean, everybody says they need more strong women. I don't think they really realized what happened, or that they had so many strong women in Star Wars in the EU. You had freaking Lana Beniko. You had you had Bastila Satil, or Bastila and Satil Shan. You had so many. I mean, Jess Zirion, even though she was evil as hell. You had Tenel Ka, her mother, or Tenel Ka's mother, Tenel Ka. You had Leia. You had so many strong characters. Mara Jade would come on, or would come on. He could force pull your arms off. Oh, yeah, we come on. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you think the Star Wars fan base is toxic? I think some elements are, Cayman. I'm going to be 100% honest. I do think that there are some elements in the Star Wars fan base that have become not toxic, but bigoted. I won't use the word toxic because toxic would involve being related to poisonous, and poisonous would be decaying and whatnot. I mean, well, in that case, yeah, it does kind of fit, but still, yes, there are elements of the Star Wars fan base that have become rather bigoted and whatnot. I mean, there are a large number of people who did the Reylo shipping, the Reylos as they call them. I was on Twitter earlier, and there was a couple of people that didn't want to welcome a couple of Reylos into the Phantom Menace because they thought that all Reylos are toxic and whatnot. And I actually, it's like, no, not. That's where you guys are wrong, because I do know a couple of people who like the Reylo relationship, but they don't force it onto other people, and they don't hate on people who don't like the Reylo relationship. They agree to disagree. And it's like, you know what? If you guys don't judge the Phantom Menace based on the opinion of two short-sighted people, because that's how the Phantom Menace gets bathed in a negative light. I mean, we're trying to get out of the negative light. I mean, we've already been called out by J.J. Abrams as a very toxic fan base because he thinks that the Phantom Menace is a menace, as does Disney. And we're trying to prove that we are not a menace. We only have the name Menace in our names, but we are passionate fans that don't like how Disney has mismanaged Star Wars. Anyway, but yeah, any other questions you guys have? I'm gonna turn it into basically a Q&A now. I mean, we've covered a lot of different things pertaining to the EU. So yeah, I might just go for an hour, and instead of all the way up to 7 o'clock. But yeah, who are other strong women? I mean, you had freaking Boba Fett's granddaughter, for crying out loud. She was a strong woman. You had Cintas Vel, who was a strong woman, who was Boba Fett's wife. You had so many female characters. You had Etain Turmakan, who was a Jedi who became a mother to who became the mother and companion to a clone commando. She was a strong woman. Hey, I just like Daisy Ridley because she's hot. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, her character is what a lot of people don't like, because her character was poorly written, and it was just god awful. Now, does that mean that I think that, or that I don't think women should be in Star Wars? Hell no. Put a strong woman in Star Wars, but make her strong in the right way. Don't just make her goddamn Mary Sue. You know? I mean, Daisy Ridley has a lot of potential as an actress. She just needs the right director and right script to actually make her or to make her shine. And I think that she has the potential to do so. You feel bad for what Jake Lloyd went through because of the Star Wars fans. I feel bad for what he went through as well as Ahmed Best because, believe it or not, I am a Jar Jar. I like Jar Jar Binks, the character. I think that his character shined best in the Clone Wars. Yes, he was an over the top character, but I understood his character. His character was a very innocent character. He had a wild sense of innocence, and he's easily naive and easily manipulated. But yeah, what Jake Lloyd went through, I think he actually got into drugs and stuff. It's sad that he went through what he did, and I wish that actors and whatnot would have reached out to him and helped him cope better. You know, it would have made it would have made things in his life would have been a little bit happier. I mean, I'm not sure where he is now, but yeah, I do wish Jake Lloyd all the best. What other questions you guys got? Like Captain America says, I can do this all day. What do we got here? Just some Discord stuff. I mean, but yeah, a lot of the people who hated on the prequels and attacked Jake Lloyd and other things, it was just not right for them to do that. I mean, you had some of the OG or OT fans that were just completely saying that the prequels sucked and this and that. I mean, I grew up on the original trilogy. I was born in '85, so yeah, the trilogy was already completed and whatnot. But I still liked the prequels as well. I always liked the prequels. Yes, I acknowledge they're flawed, but still they are good in my opinion. Yes, they're not objectively good, but I still have a high entertainment value from them. And for people to just rag on him because George Lucas went like full digital and this and that, he was testing new technology at the time, folks. You can't blame somebody for trying to push the boundaries. I mean, that's what ILM did. And yeah, George Lucas might not have been the best script writer or whatnot, but you also got to understand that during the original trilogy, or the prequel trilogy, which was years before the original trilogy's timeline, you got to understand people spoke different in that universe. It was a romanticized era. So yeah, there was a time that people had spoke like that. The original trilogy had better writing, sure, but it was also kind of more gritty and down to earth, where the golden age of the Republic was far different, and people spoke differently. It was sort of like two different eras, which it basically was. And that's why I wish that people would have realized that. I mean, yeah, you rag on it and this and that, but believe it or not, you had a lot of, or you got to understand that times were different in both trilogies. So, Junebug, Kamen Rider, you guys got any more questions? But yeah, Esther Hazy escaped. She was a great kid in that book, Dark Rendezvous. What is going on in here? Oh, it's a message. Krishna from Dwayne going live in a sec. Hey. Why does everybody else have to go live when I'm going live? It takes away from my viewership as well. I mean, my channel's small. But yeah. Make sure you smash the like button too, folks. Please show your support by hitting the like button. I probably am going to start closing shop up on this live stream soon. So if you want me to answer any questions, please get them in quick. Anywho, but yeah. One of the things that I'll always enjoy about the EU was it was not just one person who expanded it, it was many people who expanded it. And that is one of the reasons why the EU was so well loved and not all encompassing and all accepted either. But it showed that there were some parts of the EU that weren't as good as other parts. I mean, the Emperor coming back, and even in the EU, it wasn't the best received. And I feel that it would have been interesting to see Plagueis return. I mean, that was one character, like I said, he had a lot of potential as well. But Plagueis, he actually was on the way to becoming a very powerful Sith Lord that could have been even or what is your favorite year in general? My favorite year, like year on Earth? Please clarify, Kamen Rider. But yeah, Darth Plagueis, man. The way that he did things, he was an alchemist for the most part. I won't say he's a Sith alchemist, but yeah. My favorite, but yeah, if I had to choose a favorite year, it would possibly be when I was a kid, when I was younger, like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. Heck, maybe even 12 or 13. Back in the 90s, it was a golden age, or it was basically the golden age of the United States, because back then you were able to talk shit with people and everybody around you accepted it. They knew that you were joking. I mean, you could literally say to your best friend, "Don't say that or I'll kill you," and whatnot. And they knew that you wouldn't go and kill them. And people wouldn't lose their heads over saying, or people could joke without people getting offended. People could say things without other people getting offended. It was just a better time. And I wish that we would return to that time, because the time that we are in now is just so full of division, and it's really sad on the spirit. I hope I answered your question with satisfaction. But yeah, folks, I am going to start wrapping it up. It's at the hour mark. Thank you for stopping by, folks, for the 3 or 4 people that did. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for sharing the stream. If you did, thank you for supporting the channel. It does truly mean a lot to me. And I hope to grow my channel even more after this week. I'm going to be doing more live streams. I can only do the 20 hours because I'm not going to pay for StreamYard to do more than 20 hours. So I'm going to definitely do like an hour at a time kind of live stream. But yeah, I hope that everybody has a good time. I hope you all have a wonderful night. I want to thank Junebug, Kamen Rider. I want to thank Star Wars Lounge for coming in, and anybody else who dropped a like. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that Palaniuki. I'm sorry I didn't see your comment. That would be interesting. Star Wars Invasion comics adapted. Yeah, that would be interesting. Anyway, year from either the 80s, 90s, 2000s, or 2010s. Well, like I said, the 90s were a golden decade age, man. Especially for me, because that's what I liked. Anyway, folks, it is time for me to wrap this up. You are all very wonderful people, and I do appreciate all the support you give and show just by coming on to the chat. So, yes, folks, you're all amazing and beautiful people, and I hope you will join me tomorrow. If I do decide to go live, I will let you know a few hours in advance. So pay attention to my Twitter, which is Orange Hat Reviews, or with the at Orange Hat Reviews, but without the A in orange because I couldn't fit all of the letters into it. But yes, please take care. Have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you all on the next one.